going on, everyone? Back with another episode of Stuff and Things, and today we're taking a look at the runner-up knife to the ones that you guys chose after my knife banter episode with Blade HQ. The one that won was, of course, the Boker Mermaid. You guys wanted to see that, and some people didn't get the whole inside joke behind that thing, and it was met with some dislikes. So hopefully this one makes up for that. If you haven't checked out that video, go watch it right here. It is sort of a lighthearted, funny video. It's supposed to be, but some people didn't get that. So anyway, now we are moving on to the knife that was probably second most recommended out of everything on that knife banter video. And it is a damn cool option. I am glad that you guys decided to go with this. Today we're taking a look at the Guardian Tactical Recon OTF. This is the RECON-035 coming from Guardian Tactical, and it is definitely one of the most state-of-the-art out-the-front knives on the market today. There's a lot of really cool things going on with this knife that may seem pretty normal, but once you compare it to some of the competition, you will tell that it is definitely a little bit ahead of its game. The knife is built with a black anodized handle and a Stonewash finish blade. This one happens to be Tanto in S35 VN steel, and the grinds on this thing are just killer looking. Now, the thing that makes this knife so unique is actually Guardian Tactical's patented OTF mechanism. This thing is so smooth and so responsive when compared to some other options on the market right now. Some of that comes from the unique thumb slide switch on here. This is actually separated from the aluminum handle by a steel plate and 3 ceramic balls. That allows this thing to travel back and forth much smoother because you're not actually rubbing up against the anodization or whatever type of finish the handle is finished in. The 3 ceramic balls make this thing just kind of glide forward and backward when deploying and retracting the knife, and it really is one of the most satisfying OTFs that I've ever played with. Another thing that is unique about this mechanism is that, as you can tell, the blade is sort of off-centered from the rest of the knife. What that actually does is it keeps the locking mechanism off to the side of the blade, that way it doesn't drag against the blade when opening and closing. Some other very common designs have it a little bit closer to the blade, it is not offset, and then it creates that friction that sort of causes some malfunctions with other OTF options. Other than that, everything about this knife is pretty simple and straightforward. It is just a super clean design, and I'm definitely a big fan of it. I am glad that you guys picked this and not something else like another Boker Mermaid. Nothing wrong with that knife. That is a glorious knife, and I am a very proud owner of it, but this thing is just in a league of its own. It has a tip-down pocket clip on here that is very strong. Unfortunately, I'm currently in a state where I can't really EDC this thing. I can't carry it with me every single day, but I definitely would just for the cool factor and the fidget factor alone. Here's a quick look at how this thing rides in the pocket. It is relatively deep. You may be able to see that there is a little bit of a lanyard hole sticking out here. I personally wouldn't run anything like that on here, but it is definitely a thin and comfortable knife to carry. I really wish that I could EDC this thing. Now, the action on this thing, I know it might be a little bit noisy out here, but just listen to this. Oh, it just like thuds open. It is so satisfying. And a lot of that is thanks to the locking mechanism that I just spoke on. Now, in the past, I did do a video on the Microtech Ultratech. This is also another very high-end out-the-front knife. This thing does fire very smooth, and I really don't have any complaints about it. It really does set the standard for OTF knives. The Recon, on the other hand, though, I think I might actually prefer this mechanism over the Microtech. Just as a quick example, I have fired both of these knives probably over 1,000 or so times, and I have had more failures with the Microtech than I have with the Recon. I've actually had 0 failures with the Recon. The only time that this thing fails is when I force it to fail. So here, I will have the knife out. I'll hold on to the blade and let it drop. Now you can see it is completely free floating in there. The way this mechanism is offset in the knife, like I said, it allows this thing to slide around in there with no friction at all. Now, if I want to lock this thing back into place, I simply pull it out and it will click in. And now it is right back to normal. This thing is just so smooth and easy to actuate, really. The jimping on the actual switch on here is not quite as aggressive as it is on the Microtech. This thing will definitely wear on your thumb after a while, and it is much harder to put in and out as compared to the Recon. Granted, both of these knives are pretty new. I really don't carry this thing around. I'm sure if I broke this thing in a little bit more, it might be as easy as this, but with those ceramic balls in there and the steel that separates the actual thumb slide from the actual frame of the knife, it just makes this thing feel unlike anything else. The blade profile on this thing alone is just so sick. You can see S35 VN printed on the blade there. It has a really cool grind up towards the tip of the blade, and overall it is relatively thick. Now, I'm probably not going to want to be like prying and scraping with the tip of this thing, but overall, I mean, it is a solid blade shape for sure. Definitely a user. Ergonomic wise, it definitely fills up my hand a little bit more than the Microtech. This thing is a little bit on the slim side when compared to the Recon. Both of them feel good, but I do think that I prefer the way this thing feels in my hand just a little bit more. I really can't say enough good things about this action. Like I said, I would carry this thing just alone for that action. So hopefully some of those automatic out the front knife laws change relatively soon. There have been some changes recently in other states where they are being a little bit more lenient on automatic knives like this, so hopefully my state follows soon. I don't really have anything to cut test out here, but I will show you how sharp this thing is just by running this down my arm here. Hair popping sharp right out of the box. Look at all that arm hair on there. This thing is just razor sharp right out of the box. I'm definitely a fan of the S35 VN blade. My current EDC uses the same steel, and like I keep saying, if I could carry this thing, this might take the spot for my EDC blade. Unfortunately, it can't, so for now this thing will just sort of be a safe queen. It will be sitting in the box with the rest of my collection. Speaking of that, this is basically the last knife that I have not shown you guys yet, so I think the next knife video that I will make will be a full detailed knife collection again. Things have changed a lot since I first did a knife collection video, so hopefully you guys are excited to see that. It may take a little while to film because there are quite a few knives there, so let's set an incentive of 1,000 likes on this video, and then I will release that knife collection video. Sound good? All right, good. Alright guys, well if you have any questions on the Guardian Tactical RECON-035, let me know in the comments down below. I gotta give a huge thank you to the guys at Blade HQ for not only setting up the whole knife banter, but for helping me pick out my next 2 knives that I just added to my collection. This is definitely one that will remain in the collection for a while. Oh, it's so fun to play with. If you guys want to check out everything that Guardian Tactical has to offer, I will leave a link to Blade HQ in the description down below. These things are very popular right now and a lot of them are sold out. However, if you want to get this black and Stonewash Tanto blade, there are still a few in stock as I'm filming this video. So if you get there early enough, you may be able to get your hands on one. So that's it for now. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, consider clicking subscribe. I make new videos every week, and that's going to be all for today. So as always, thank you for watching, and I will talk to you in the next one.